Welcome.
to Dark Narratives. I'm Isabella.
And I'm Alexandria.
So Alexandria is away this week, so I thought I'd bring in my sister, also named Alexandria, just different
RI.
Yeah, just different spelling. So I thought I'd bring her in and we will just get right to it. Okay, so today we're going to talk about Lars Mittank. Now, I don't know if anybody have you heard of him?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, apparently he's one of the most famous people on the internet to go missing. But I hadn't heard about him
I haven't either.
before. I don't know, maybe in different parts it's more popular, but I'm really excited to tell you about him today because it is a baffling mystery. Mm-hmm. Lars Mittank was born on February 9th, 1986 from Berlin, Germany. So real far away. He was pretty successful by the time 2014 rolled around. He had a girlfriend at the time. He also worked, I believe, as an engineer or something at a power plant. Mm-hmm. So he was like, he had a good stable job. He was like really active, loved to do sports and stuff. So he kind of kept his head in that. Yeah, he kind of seemed to have things going for him. So yes, Lars was known to be very close with his family. They were always talking. I guess at one point his dad had a stroke, so he spent even more time at his parents' house when he wasn't working or doing sports or anything like that. He'd be there just helping around and helping his mom with the load and helping his dad. Mm-hmm. Like I said, a really healthy guy. There was really nothing in his history of like mental illness or taking any like prescription drugs or doing anything recreational like that.
He was pretty normal.
He was like, yeah, he was just a normal guy. He would hunt, he'd fish, he loved football.
Being in the outdoors, it sounds like.
Yeah, he didn't really have time for anything else. And he tried to take really good care of himself as well.
Is this an unsolved case?
It is unsolved. He is still the internet's most famous missing person.
That's insane.
And that kind of brings us to where this all began. So Lars had not traveled really ever before deciding to take a trip with his friends. If anything, if he was going to go anywhere, it'd be for going somewhere to do fishing and stuff like that. But he had never left Germany at this point. So he decided on June 30th, 2014 that he was going to go along with his friends and go on his first ever actual vacation away. They traveled to Bulgaria and stayed at the Golden Sand Resort. That just sounds so nice.
That does sound very relaxing.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
Yes, and they left on June 30th, 2014. He went on this vacation with 5 of his friends. And for the most part, it was like any other vacation. They enjoyed being away from every day on a resort. They swam, ate, obviously had some drinks. They went out to some bars. And they had a lot of fun.
Just a good time.
And to his friends, Lars was really normal. People have, like, his friends have mentioned the only thing they could really pick out is that he ate a lot of soups and salads while he was there.
Oh,
but
wow.
again, like, not all the food is going to agree with you, especially on vacation. So maybe, who knows, maybe that was just what was working for him. But he didn't tell anybody. Yeah. But then also I saw reports that he was a vegetarian. Oh, so then that also checks out. Yeah. So, I don't know. Some people look at that a little bit more. I don't know what to think. But yeah, his friend said he was really normal. A lot of the times, Lars would end up playing football on the beach with some other guys. And for when I say football, I mean soccer in this case. Yeah. He is just really enjoying himself. Yeah, and his mom, Sandra, later recalled that it was a little bit of a surprise to her when she found out that he was going on this particular vacation. Mm-hmm. Just because, again, if he was going to go somewhere, it would be more it'd be more designed to be on the active side.
Like
Like,
an
I guess,
outdoorsy vacation.
fishing. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like sport fishing or whatever. But nonetheless, Lars went, and yeah, I said he was having a great time, and anybody that he interacted with mentioned that he seemed like a nice guy, like just a nice, normal, polite guy.
Yeah.
So everything was great, and then the last night comes. They were set to leave from vacation on July 7th, 2014. The night before the trip is set to end and they're all to go home, they decided that they were going to go to, the bar's called Mystery of Golden Sands Bar.
Oh, that sounds
Again,
cool.
how nice does that
That
sound?
sounds so fun.
And it was about a kilometer away from the resort. So they decided they were going to go out that night and go watch some football. The 2014 World Cup was actually on. And like, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So they went there to watch football. I guess Lars wore his jersey when he went. It says that Lars wore SV Werder Bremen.
I'm not sure.
I'm not familiar with football at all, so I could be wrong. But they also came across some other people that were in the bar, and they were fans of the opposite team at the time. So things got a little bit heated at
100%.
Yeah, at some point in the evening. I
As
mean,
most does with sports teams.
it's exactly what I thought. And they're having drinks, they're out with their guys.
Yeah.
Things I think are bound to get. It could be like the smallest comment about someone else's team.
Oh yeah, they take it very, like, there's some people who take it very seriously.
100%. And that's kind of what started happening in this bar. Whether it was heightened by having drinks or whatever, it got to that point. Lars and his friends decided that they were going to leave the bar, and their friends wanted some McDonald's. Being only a kilometer away from the resort, Lars didn't want to go into McDonald's, so he didn't. And his friends went in and they did their thing. I mean, Lars is a 28-year-old man. He can find his way back. Yeah, he's not going to sit and wait out the McDonald's. He can find his own way home. He'll be fine. Friends go about their business, and Lars heads back to the resort. When his friends get back to the resort, Lars isn't there. But again, it's late. He's a grown man. Not
Maybe
really.
He got caught up.
Yeah, it's not really a big deal. So they go about their business. But that's where this is kind of the start of some weird happenings. So in the morning, Lars's girlfriend I mentioned, she gets a call from him.
Right.
She gets a call, and that's where she finds out that when Lars ended up leaving the restaurant the night before, and he was on his way back to the hotel.
The bar.
When he was on his way back to the hotel, that's when Russians or Bulgarians or whoever ended up finding him and beating him up.
Oh, shit.
And Lars seems to think that they were actually hired by the Bayern fans from the bar.
Oh.
Because he apparently was told when he was there that evening that he was told by them that in Bulgaria you can easily hire someone for little money to beat someone up.
Okay.
So I guess I understand why he would put two and two together.
Yeah.
It's the people you're kind of getting into a heated argument would say that. I mean, I don't know. It's just what I read, but that's what Lars seemed to believe. Lars' girlfriend's obviously concerned, and she urges him, like, you need to go. You're about to get on a long plane ride.
Yeah.
And Lars was complaining about pain in his ear after being beaten up. So she's like, well, you need to go and you need to get this checked out. You can't get on a long-ass plane ride.
Especially with an ear problem.
Yes, and Lars was actually really concerned, too. Not only does it obviously hurt, but for his job, it is necessary to have all your hearing capabilities.
Yeah, wait, sorry. What does he do for his job again?
I believe he works at a power plant, and I'm not sure if he's an engineer at the power plant or if he does something else.
But you need your ears.
And he also doesn't want to hurt himself getting on this plane. So he's got a lot of kind of things running through his head right now. So he's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to go to the doctor before I get on the plane. So when Lars meets up with his friends at the resort the next morning after talking to his girlfriend, he tells them the story that he had told his girlfriend, that he was beaten up on the way back to the hotel. His ear obviously hurts, and he seems to think that it was the guys from the bar on the opposing team that they liked hired somebody to find him and beat him up.
I mean, you can't blame them if they made the comment. Like,
Yeah.
you can't blame him for.
Well,
like,
yeah, and you're in a
thinking
different you're in a different place. You
Yeah.
don't know your surroundings well, and if you get into any argument with somebody and you don't even know the area, you're gonna be a little uncomfortable. What
Yeah.
if they were staying at the same resort you were and you just didn't know it?
Yeah, you're in a vulnerable position.
Many things are gonna run through your head. After he talked to his friends, he took a taxi with a friend to a doctor's office, and that is where he was diagnosed with a ruptured eardrum. And he had hurt his jaw as well, and he was told that he also needed to go to the hospital. So after he was at the doctor's office with his friend, he goes back to the resort to talk to the rest of his group, and he basically was like, you guys just go home. Like, don't sit here and wait for me to be, like, go to the doctor and get cleared to fly and everything, because who knows if I even can.
Yeah, like,
and
you guys go on.
You guys go on. He also mentioned, he's like, I have my travel insurance. It'll be fine. Just go. So they did. So later on, the friends took a shuttle and they went to the airport to go home. And once they left, Lars got into another taxi and he went to the hospital. And he really didn't get much help at all. When he went to the hospital. Yeah, they kind of actually, if anything, made things just worse for him. From what I was understanding, the doctor was actually kind of an asshole. He wasn't really interested in hearing Lars out or really what even happened to get these injuries. And he also refused to speak English.
Oh.
Yeah, the doctor was like, nah, could really care less. It's kind of the vibe that Lars had gotten. So yeah, he really didn't get much help. Lars was never admitted to the hospital to be checked out. He really wasn't checked at all. He was basically given a bill to pay and a prescription.
Oh my God.
He was prescribed an antibiotic, Zefprozil, at 500 milligrams. From here, Lars leaves the hospital, and I think that was around 9:41 p.m. I believe, I could be a little bit wrong on my times just because some of the information I got had to be translated. And he takes a taxi to the pharmacy. I guess he ended up having to go to a second pharmacy though because of the way that the medication was distributed at the first one. And with the amount that they had, it wouldn't fill his prescription, I guess. So he went to another pharmacy where they say, after getting the prescription, he asked the taxi to bring him to the hotel, and the taxi brings him to Hotel Color. I guess the taxi gets a commission.
Yeah.
Bringing people, and also it's like high tide basically right now. Like it's vacation time right now. Not everything. There's not a lot of availability. Exactly.
Yeah.
When Lars gets to the hotel, he's very concerned. He's almost like paranoid, to be honest, when he gets there.
Like that he's being followed?
I don't know exactly, but he does call his mom when he gets there, and he's like whispering almost on the phone, and he's like basically telling his mom that the hotel wrote all his credit card information down and that he really needs her to block the card because they have it and he just doesn't trust them.
Yeah.
And he was really concerned about that. And I guess like his mom tried to do that, but the bank wasn't really having it.
There's no, like, she probably didn't have that pre-authorization.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. But Lars also told her that the hotel was just a really strange place. And he felt that people were listening in to his conversation. Like he's just like all around sounds paranoid.
Yeah, he sounds like he's...
like something's really freaking him out here. He also mentioned he also had some concerns about the medication that he was prescribed, and he just didn't have a good feeling about the medication.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't blame him because the interaction that he had at the hospital, I'd be like, did you just prescribe me anything just to get me out of here?
He probably didn't trust it because he wasn't fully informed about it. Well, yeah. Which is fair.
Well, yeah, also that, and also the doctor didn't even want to hear what actually happened to him.
Yeah.
So how is the doctor supposed to prescribe something to you that is actually going to help you?
Yeah. Especially if the doctor's not told the full story. Like, that makes it
Yeah.
sketchy.
And
It's
to
shady.
that, yes, and to that point, I guess something had come out. The foreign office there had published something basically saying that doctors have given expensive misdiagnosis and
Oh, wow.
yes, and offered like unnecessary treatments.
Oh, wow.
And that if you don't pay, there's certain cases where they'll like try to prevent you from leaving. Like,
Oh
you
my
have to pay or you
God.
can't go home. They'll like take your passports and your ID and everything, so you can't
Are
go.
you serious?
Yeah. And I guess some people that visit there, you can, and I'm not sure if it's everywhere there. This is just what I was reading.
Yeah.
But I guess there has been some cases where tourists, they'll start to get like pressure when they go to see doctors.
Really?
To like, yeah, to do treatments, or even by the hotel employees. Some
That's
hotel employees.
odd.
Yeah. So, like I said, I can understand. If I went somewhere that I wasn't familiar with and I went to the doctor and I wasn't being heard and then I was just given an antibiotic.
Oh, I'd be
like,
so sketched out.
I'd be like, but why are you giving this to me? I would almost just be like, I don't care. I'm going to go home and I'll deal with everything at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be so sketched out. I would not be able to sleep comfortably. I would not be able to...
I guess it was reported that Lars would like pace the hall of the hotel, and he was only there for one night, but he would like pace the hallways. He'd be looking out the windows. He'd go in the elevator, like just completely restless.
It sounds like he like could have been like on something, but like you said, he's straight edge.
Yeah, he's not known to do any of that, and he's by himself, and he was
Yeah.
just injured. If he was supposed to go home?
Yeah.
And he's there by himself. He's not even at the nice resort that he was saying. He's in a shitty hotel.
Yeah.
That's not the time to all of a sudden start experimenting with drugs.
Yeah, no.
Or going to get drunk by yourself. You're like, fuck, this sucks. I want to go home. My fucking ear hurts.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting any help.
Yeah.
So it does sound like that, but also that just doesn't make any sense to me anyways.
No, it doesn't to me either.
Like, I'd be like, I need to sleep on the sheets and like wait for morning to come so I can get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like, when your vacation's done, you want to just get home. You don't want to dick around. And you don't want to do it alone.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
In another call, he talked to his mom quite a bit. Like, there was a lot of conversations that were had leading up to all of this.
Oh, wow.
But he called his mom again, and he asked his mom if she could try to get in touch with the international insurance company. Like, maybe they can get him home another way.
Yeah.
He's like, just get me out of here at this point. And she did call the insurance company, and she opened up a file with them, and she called her son back. She was really concerned about him. He was obviously scared and something was going on. So she was just trying to think of any way to get him out of there. So she decided to book him an Airbus home. If he couldn't fly, he could at least still leave.
Yeah.
Like, he was looking, can you call the insurance company? Is there any other way to get out of here?
Yeah.
So she's like, I'm just going to get him an Airbus. At least I'm going to pay for it, get the Airbus, and if he needs it, great. But if he can't fly home, at least he can leave.
Yeah.
But sometime in the early morning, when, like, you'd usually be sleeping, well, I'm sleeping by 1 a.m.
Oh, 100%.
Lars calls, yeah, right. Sometimes I'll go to bed at, like, 8:30.
That's okay, though. Sometimes...
I love to be in my room, though, like...
Yeah, I love just laying there.
And I have 2 living rooms.
I know.
But I'm like, no, I'm just going to go sit on my bed. I just love it. I feel like your room should feel like a little oasis.
Yeah.
Okay. So at least he can still leave. Around 1 a.m, when usually you'd be sleeping, Sandra, Lars's mom, gets another call from him. And he is whispering to his mom that 4 men are following him.
Oh,
and
fuck.
so he's hiding, watching them.
Oh my God.
That would be, my stomach would drop. Because your kid, I don't care how old your kid is.
Yeah.
Your kid is away. You are so far away from them. You can't do anything.
You're helpless.
But try to help over the phone.
Yeah.
So that's what she hears. Lars also mentions that he's pretty high up being able to see them. So that's obviously a concern.
Yeah. I mean, he has the high ground.
Yes. But... And from here, they ended the call. I'm not sure everything that was discussed in that call, but that's kind of what she hears. So from there, all of a sudden, she starts receiving text messages from Lars. And he goes, 16,500, what's that? Or around like 10 minutes later, he sends the same text messages. And Sandra from here decided, I will also book a flight, and it would have left Vienna airport and land in Hamburg. I think she's trying to make sure that his I's are dotted, his T's are crossed. Yeah. Like any way that he needs to get home, it is already booked.
It's available.
She'll deal with it later. Exactly. Yeah. And it's just, he has the tickets for whatever he needs at the time just to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
And so Sandra stays up all night worrying. She can't do anything but sit there and worry at this point.
You can't blame her.
Like, she's hoping by the next day he'll go to the airport, he'll get on a plane, he'll come home, and
it'll all be okay.
And it'll all be okay, and she'll hear what happened, and that's how it is. So yeah, Sandra, she stays up all night worrying, and in the morning she does receive at least some relief when Lars contacts her and says that he made it to the airport.
Okay.
So on July 8th, Lars made it to the airport after staying only one night in the Hotel Color. And from what we know, from what we know, Lars obviously didn't get much sleep. Like, he called his mom around 1 a.m. He's pacing the hallways.
He's exhausted, probably. Like, he's paranoid.
Yeah, he's paranoid about his card, his medication, his
everything.
Ear freaking hurts, his jaw hurts, he's tired. Eventually, Lars was picked up by a taxi from the area of Hotel Color, and he was picked up by a taxi who actually already had a passenger in the vehicle, but the taxi picked him up anyways. Mm-hmm. Both of those people, the taxi driver and the person who was sitting in the vehicle, later reported that Lars's eyes were quite dilated. Like, they could notice that they were dilated.
There was something. Yeah.
So again, though, he has been probably up all night, all day the day before, and he's it's like his eyes are dilated, but he's also not in the best state right now.
Right.
I mean, to me anyways. Once Lars got to the airport, his phone was dying, so he texted his mom that he needed some money and to send it through Western Union, but neither one of them had used it before. But I guess he had talked to somebody like previously about Western Union, so it just came in handy now.
Isn't that a bank branch though?
Yeah.
So like, if they never used it, then how would they already...
Well, that's what this guy was telling him about on how to use it. I really don't know anything about it, but it was just a conversation that he had, and he's like, this is the best way to do it, because remember, he was worried about his credit cards.
Yeah.
So he had cash, but he was just like, I need you to send me some more. He was just worried.
Yeah.
So Sandra told her son to take down all the information about the flight and the bus that she had booked, because his phone was dying and he's going to need that information. Just write it down now so you're not running into any other issues.
Yeah.
She also told him that he needs to go to the airport doctor before he gets on a flight.
That's fair.
To make sure he was good to go. But Lars was like, yeah, well, I'll go to the doctors, but I'm not, like, they're not going to let me go. Like, that's concern. Why do you know that they're not going to let you go? Like, what's going on? Yes. He also said that he was just, like, dirty. Like, he was just dirty because he'd been out at this hotel. And so she's like, well, go freshen up, and then I'll send you the money transfer, and you can go see the doctor.
Yeah.
So a little while later, Sandra calls him back just to check in, and she can hear water running, but she's like, can't talk to him. Like, there's splashing noises.
Yeah.
So she's like, at first, like, what the heck? But again, he was going to go and freshen up in the bathroom.
Yeah.
So, but after that phone call, she never hears from Lars ever again.
Oh, shit.
There's never a phone call or a text made between the two of them.
That's insane. Sounds like he was kind of strung out. Mm-hmm. Whether it was he took that the doctor gave him, like this is just a theory. What if the doctor gave him a medication, he had no idea what it was, he took it, it made him high, whatever, and it made him paranoid? What if he just entered the psychosis or something?
Yeah, I really don't know. I mean, there's a lot of theories out there, and we'll get into that part. So they never were able to speak again, but we do know that Lars did end up at the airport doctor, and he was there for about 42 minutes.
They laid eyes on him.
Yes, he did go to the doctors. The doctor checked him all out, and he had been given eardrops. His temperature was checked, and he was cleared to fly at that point. He signed a waiver. The doctor mentioned that Lars was nervous and erratic, but from what I understand, he did end up clearing Lars to fly.
Okay.
Because his injury was not going to affect him on a flight. Everything was fine. So I'm just...
He should have gotten on the flight.
Yes, the next bit here is I just don't understand what happened from here. All he had to do was get on that flight and go home. But when randomly another man entered the room, and I've had different reports. It was either a construction worker or another person who works in the airport. I really don't know, because unfortunately the doctor here has 3 different accounts of who may have walked into the room at that time.
Oh, God.
And I don't really understand that. So he said the person who came in the consulting room was an airport employee who was getting details about flying somewhere. Immediately, that's weird. What the fuck?
Yeah.
And then he also said it was just an airport employee. But then he turned around and said that he actually doesn't know who it was.
Sounds like he can't get his story straight.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me, but either way, and when whoever it was, came into that room, that's when Lars took a really weird turn. That's where this went really wrong. From what I read, Lars starts yelling, "I don't want to die here. I have to get out of here." And he just took off. He kept running. He didn't have any of his belongings on him. He left behind his phone, luggage, passport, everything. He left it behind and he took off, got outside. He
and that was
jumped
the
a
video
fence.
You showed me?
Yes, he jumped a
Oh
fence.
my God.
He took off into the direction of the forest and never to be seen again.
That's insane. I wonder if he experienced like a mental illness episode, whether it was
that he didn't know he had before.
Yeah, like I don't know, like maybe something triggered it. Maybe he got, I don't want to say amnesia, but something neurological damage that altered that his reality.
There's a lot of theories, and I don't really think that you can rule that out, in my opinion. So after Lars disappears, there's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff isn't adding up.
Like, what happened?
Because Lars has been in contact this entire time, it's immediate that she knows something is wrong.
Yeah.
So she calls the consulate. She is worried about her son. She doesn't know just yet that Lars has ran off, but she's concerned she can't get in touch with him, and they have been in contact.
Yeah.
So they take it and they go look into everything, and she receives a call back, and she is told that Lars did end up going to the doctors, and he did end up being cleared to fly. But in the consult room, Lars had asked to go use the washroom, and he never came back.
What? Mm-hmm. But he left everything.
Except all of his stuff was there. And then, I don't know if it was in another phone call or in the same breath, the same woman had said he actually ran out of the airport. Like, he asked to go use the washroom, and he just ran completely out of the airport. And again, all of his stuff is still there. So Sandra is, like, obviously freaking out at this point.
Like,
she has no idea what's going on. She knows bits and pieces from talking to Lars throughout the night, and she knows that her son was beaten up from what he told her.
Yeah.
Immediately, the investigation starts when Lars is reported missing. Sandra goes to the airport, and they show her the video of Lars running out after going to the doctors. Mm-hmm. I believe she had asked to see the footage of him actually arriving at the airport, but they didn't have it available for her.
That makes no sense.
How are you not gathering every piece of footage you have to show this woman and the detectives?
And also to take account of, like, where he was.
Yeah, but they didn't have that. So Interpol was looking.
That's insane.
Yeah.
There's no way an airport can just suddenly not have.
You have security everywhere in an airport. So Interpol was looking, a detective from Germany. Sandra hired her own private detective. She hired a lawyer. The authorities in Bulgaria were looking. They searched the whole area that he ran towards and around. They used drones. They used thermal imaging. They used planes.
Probably dogs.
People. dogs. Like they were
Everything.
and they could not find him. Now, some people have immediately mentioned or like the medication.
Yeah, that was my thought.
He picked up a prescription for medication.
And he didn't even really understand it.
And nobody wanted to help him with it.
Yeah.
So could that have been a side effect? Now, this has been confusing for me, and anybody can tell me what they found, but in some places I found that the doctor from the airport said he didn't even fill the prescription.
Oh.
So it couldn't have been that. But also, I don't know if I trust that doctor. Like I mentioned, Sandra had hired that private detective and the lawyer. Yeah. So while Sandra's at the airport and they said, well, we didn't have that footage available, they're giving her his belongings. And they also give her an inventory list of what Lars had left. And on this inventory list mentions the medication that he was prescribed. And it's noted as saying there's one pack with 10 in it, and then there's another pack with 7 in it.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of seems like he would have taken that medication then, but he had some concerns about it.
Yeah.
And Sandra was kind of like, what the heck? Because when she was going through his belongings, it was like very tidy and clean, but the medication was missing.
Yeah.
That was put on this list. Yeah. And so she goes back to the airport and she questions them about it with her lawyer there, and they just give her a new list without the medication being listed.
Are you fucking serious?
It's not like they just listed medication, prescription. They were like prescription, medication, 10, 7.
Yeah. Like,
and now all of a sudden
detailed.
you're saying it's not even there. So where is this prescription medication? She's very concerned about that, and I guess the conversation in the room started to get a little tense. And to make like matters worse down the line, her lawyer started acting a little bit shady from what I understand.
Really?
And she ended up having to fire him. He wanted to
God.
give up finding him. So there's a lot of things that are just so confusing in here. Yeah, so that's why I say I immediately go to the medication like, was it a side effect? But did he actually take it? Did he take it? And then that's why he was like, I have some concerns about this medication. Like he even told the doctor at the airport that he had concerns about it. Or if he didn't take the medication, because in one report I saw he didn't fill the medication.
Yeah.
But then in the list from the airport, they listed the medication and then backtracked and said it wasn't there. So which is it? Did he fill it and then not take it? Because I've filled I've filled medication before and then decided not to take it.
I have done that too. Yeah.
But it just baffles me the whole that this many were in here and they were sold in packs of 10.
And there was 7 in one of them.
Yeah.
Where did those?
It's very confusing, so I don't really know what's the truth and what's not, or the truth is buried somewhere in there. I mean, I feel horrible for Sandra that she has to go through this because there really isn't a lot of answers, and every time she moves forward there's more questions.
I also wonder too, like, because 3 pills to be missing
in that small amount of time.
Yeah, like in a 24-hour
That's a good
duration.
point.
Like that's. Mm-hmm. I wonder if there was a mix-up of, because it sounded like the doctor first didn't give a shit. He was just kind of.
They also didn't want to speak English.
That too, so he was probably just guessing the dose and ended up maybe he took too many.
And he was already worried about it.
Dilated pupils.
But also too, he was jumped.
That too.
Prior.
So it could be like a neurological damage.
Too, and that's what I immediately go to.
Or both.
I initially am like, did he get hit on the side of his head so hard and he's having some weird effects, but nobody's taking him seriously? Like, had he maybe been admitted,
he would have.
If he had been admitted, would this have still happened? I don't know. Yeah. And that's what I keep going back to. But in the time between 2014 and now, there's been a lot of sightings. I mean, you get people who call in and they're just trying to fuck with the system. A year after Lars went missing, a truck driver had said that he'd seen Lars hitchhiking in Varna. That didn't turn out to be him. People have said that they've seen him in other countries. 2019, another truck driver who didn't know about the case really, he had picked up a hitchhiker from Dresden, and later on he had seen like Lars's report and he was like, oh wait, fuck.
It kind of looks
like him.
Yeah.
But just older. But that didn't really go anywhere.
This is 2014. And
that was 2019.
Yeah, but he was missing it from 2014 So yeah.
There's been a lot of reports like within this of, in 2016, someone thought that a homeless guy looked like Lars. Like disheveled and everything. And they were like, maybe it's him. But turns out he was from Canada. So it wasn't him. Yeah, my thoughts is I immediately just keep going back to fight. And I tried to find Bulgarian reports on this fight. Like if I tried to see if he'd reported to police or anything, but I really could not find anything about that. Maybe he didn't report it to the police.
Yeah,
Some people don't. But I tried to find news reports, maybe a little bit more information about that. I tried to see if did they try to find those people and talk to them.
Yeah.
Just to see if they could get their take on how Lars was at the bar. Like, I don't...
Is there footage from the bar?
I tried to see if there's like some... I didn't find any, but I couldn't really find anything, and I don't know if it's because I need to just dive deeper into the internet to try to find Bulgarian news reports, but a lot of it I had to, like, one of the videos, the documentaries I watched, I had to translate the whole thing, and not everything translates exactly how it's being said in another language, so it does get a little bit confusing. I did obviously go to Reddit because I want to hear what other people's theories are on this that I haven't thought of. One of them is, you know, Lars could have lost his memory.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, like, with amnesia. Like,
yeah, makes me go back to, like, what if he had been admitted?
Yeah, completely altered.
I just wish that they could have done more tests on him because he
listened.
got hit in the side of the head. So what I said, that he had a traumatic brain injury from the fight that caused paranoia, and that made him start acting like that. Some people said, oh, maybe it's schizophrenia that came on. I just don't see that. I seen one where people had speculated that he was a drug mule.
Oh.
That's interesting. Or blackmail. And think about at the doctor's office, somebody, we don't know who, walked in and all of a sudden he lost his shit and ran away. What if it was a...
What if he was a drug mule and the balloons bursted and that made his pupils dilate and made him act insane?
There's so many theories.
There's so many theories, especially being in a different
because his
country.
eyes were dilated, but also it's like he was, I don't know.
Did he take the meds? Did he not? Like, where? And, like, also too, it'd be nice to see footage from the hotel and the bar.
I tried to find that too, some footage from
Like,
him at the hotel
so
color,
many...
but I didn't find any.
Yeah, it feels like this investigation has so many, like, missing
And it could be because
parts.
there is missing parts and people don't want to cooperate.
Yeah.
Or it's because I'm having troubles getting to that part of the internet.
Yeah,
I
maybe
can't
we
find
just
that
can't
footage
find
and stuff.
But
yes, I don't know. Another one was... drug-induced, confidential informant. He got wrapped up in that somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know if that one really jives with me. The other thing too is that his mom had mentioned that when he's running away, obviously, yes, he is scared and it is a little bit erratic, but it also looks like he almost is running away with a purpose.
Yeah, like
almost
he's going to something.
He knows where he's going to go and that he's just around somewhere.
Yeah.
And I kind of believe that too. Yeah, that's where we're at with the missing persons case of Lars Mittank. And I'm going to post pictures of him and the video of him running away. But yeah, that is it for this week.
That was a good one.
Thank you.
That was.
And thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
And that's it for this week. And we will have another case for you next week.
And that's it for this week.
Remember, it's a dark world out there. See you creatures next week.